We are live. You are live. Okay, very good. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sidetrack Sunday. Tonight, I have with me Thomas Grossi and Bob from PK&W, and we're just going to kind of have a discussion and talk about 3D printing and everything from what type of 3D printer you have, things that you printed, printing techniques, software, so anything like that. So if you have any questions, this is a live stream by popular demand. We've had a couple people ask questions, and in the past we've discussed 3D printing and kind of ran out of time. So for myself, I started I think about 2019, I guess, and I bought a Prusa 3D printer. It was like $140, and that's what got me started. And the reason I bought it was I started that incline project. If you've seen any of those videos,
Great
yeah. So
class,
that was the first project, and the reason for me buying a 3D printer. So since then, I've printed things as small as HO couplers and some small gears, and also printed things as big as HO houses and things. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to add Bob and Tom in here. So Tom, Bob had a whole list of things.
Well,
where do you want to start? I guess what got you into it, and where you at?
I'd like to hear Tom tell us how he got started, and then I'll tell my very short story about how I got started. Okay. When was that, Tom? What kind of printers do you currently have? Just kind of set the stage about your level of expertise, which is pretty high.
Okay, here's what happened. When I first started getting back into model railroading, when I moved into my house here, and I had this system from Azitrax that was doing signals. And then I said, no, I don't want that. I want to have it set up with JMRI. So I needed to switch over to NCE lights and BD20s for block protection so that it would work in JMRI. Then I said, how am I going to mount these devices underneath the leg? And then Jim Tedesco sent me a message saying, hey, I can print you those holders. Get me the measurements, what you want. Gave him the measurements. As a matter of fact, I sent him a BD20 and an NCE lighted, and then he designed the holders for me. Now they got reworked many times over. Now I got one to my liking. And what happened was, I said, what kind of printer do you have, Jim? And he said, oh, I got any cubic Viper. So I went out and I got a Viper. Well, I didn't get the Viper right away. I got a resin printer. Because I said I had visions of printing people. Because I know resin printers can print small people. So I got my first resin printer off from Amazon. It was $350. It was a Igloo. I don't remember the model. Got the box. I was all excited. Put it up. Got it connected. Everything. Slicing programs I didn't know nothing about. I said, okay, whatever. I go, what the heck's going on here? I called up Jim Tedesco. Which slicing program should I use for this? He gave me some ideas. Downloaded this Lychee program. Created the files. You had to export them, put them on a disk, bring it over to the printer, plug it in, And I said, wait a minute, there's got to be a better way to do this. But nothing I did would print.
Well, let's go back just a second, Tom. What a slicing program is.
Right. Well, a slicing program takes your model and makes it into a code that the printer will recognize to print. So if you have a resin printer, they're going to create a file in the file type of that particular brand of the printer. Now I have Anycubic resin printers. Other people have other brand resin printers. So the file type is the name, is the word after the dot in your file. If you look on your computer on the drives and you see files, if you go to details, you'll get to see the real file name. A lot of people don't even know what they're looking at on a computer. They just see file name Dave or a file name Bob or a file name Tom. But really the file name Bob, Dave, and Tom have a dot after the name with file type. And that name there is what's recognized by the printer. G code is a file type. That's for filament printers. Anycubic has a file type that they use for each model of printer they have. I have two different models. So I have two different file types, one for the 4K and one for the 6K. Those file types are then read by the printer, and then it vectors out all the points for your model, and it knows how to print the model.
So does a resin printer also use a G code, or is it a different type of file?
No.
Oh, it's not a G code.
No, it's not G code. It's proprietary code for that particular printer. Okay, so any 3D printer that's a resin printer will come with a slicing program. Okay, if they don't come with a slicing program, you have to find a slicing program that'll work with your resin printer. Now, I've used a couple of slicing programs, but I have Anycubic, which is Photon Workshop program that works with the Anycubic printers. I have my Bambu Lab Studio slicing program, which works with my two Bambu Lab printers. That's the filament printer. So I can take my Anycubic Photon Workshop program, take a model, put it on there, size it up to whatever I want it to be, or just take it as it is and slice it, and then I have to save the file. Once I save the file, then I have to take that file and put it on a jump drive, a USB drive. Looks like one of these things.
Right.
You take the cover off, and then that slips into your computer. You copy the files into the root directory of this drive. Then when you go over to the printer and you click print, it lists all the files that you copied on. So right now on my jump drive for those two printers behind me are all the files of everybody's mini-me's. Okay, I got one
Mini-me USB.
Mini-me USB, right? I got HO scale on the 4K and I got O scale on the bigger print. So I separated them all. So I had to make a PMW B file and a PMW A file. That's the file types for the Anycubic.
Okay.
They use those characters to be recognized on the 3D printer. No, I don't have one of you, Mr.
Rickster.
Bailey.
It's the Rickster.
That's Rick
So
Bailey.
we were talking about slicers, and I guess one that I know is kind of a standard or a generic slicer called Cura. And so
Sure.
Cura supports
Resin.
Probably, well, it supports like 100 different types or 100 different manufacturers and models.
Right.
Now, when I bought the Creality, I have a Creality CR10 SE, and that particular model was new, and Creality does not support that. So I'm using it's called Creality Print to
Right.
to make G-code
Yeah,
files.
they have to provide you with a way to print the files.
Right.
If when the manufacturer makes the 3D printer, they design it so that they can have the customer be able to print something, right? So they either have a team of people that write software to be a slicing program, or they allow the people that write the code for Cure access to the codes that they'll use for that printer.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Now the
So-
the Elegoo printer that I have uses a variation of the Orca slicer, which is kind
Orca.
of a standard slicer, right? There's a lot of
Right.
companies that use the Orca slicer, and Elegoo is one of those. And
Right.
one of the other differences with my printer, Tom, is that while I can transfer files using a flash drive, as you're doing, I can also do it wirelessly. The computer is connected up to my network, so
Right.
I can just send the files straight from my PC to the printer, which is kind of nice.
See, the Anycubic doesn't have that. The Bamboo Labs, all I do from studio is say slice, and then when it's done slicing, I say print. It uploads it to the internet, and then it downloads it to the printer. And I don't have to
Right.
copy a file over or anything. The resin printers, I take the USB drive out, bring it over to my computer, copy the files onto it, then
Not
put
a
it
big
in
deal.
there. Not a big deal, but it's
Yeah.
because it's all right here. If I was in a different room, that'd be a pain in the neck. So we used to have at work, we had resin printers where I worked. I never got to print on any of them, but they were in a different building. People didn't have access to them. They had to be able to do it remotely. So they had some kind of thing. But one department was, I think, the CAD group. The CAD guys in the engineering department at the university, they had access to the 3D printers. Nobody else did.
So I can sense that Tom could go on for quite some time here, and that's exciting to me. So Tom's got resin printers and filament printers. Dave and
That's
I
correct.
both just have filament printers, and these guys both are much more experienced than me. I printed my first file in August.
Wow.
So,
Okay. Yeah, you're just getting started.
I just got started. I did buy a second printer, it's still in the box. Same model as what I have, I really have been enjoying. I had the Elegoo Century Carbon, which was pretty new at the time. But I think the important thing for the audience to hear about this and my experience is how cheap it was.
Yes.
The printer was $300. So what's
Okay.
that? The cost of a HO sound equipped locomotive.
Right.
And a spool of filament, and my first spool of filament lasted me a month or more, is what, like $10 or something.
Right.
So that's just PLA. It's not fancy filament, and we'll get into filament types later. But I just wanted the audience to hear how cheap it is to get into this. And let me tell you, that printer that I got is fully enclosed. It's a beautiful setup, and it's worked
The carbon
basically
part, the carbon part,
flawlessly for me.
I think that's a good
I'm on my third spool. Go ahead, Dave.
spool. Okay. No, I think that's a good base to be at, because I guess that's something that a lot of people question. Well, what's this going to cost me? I think if you're spending $300, that's you can get a pretty good printer at $300. I bought my Creality here Well, the first printer I bought was like $140, and it was iffy. It didn't have any auto leveling, and a lot of adjustments needed done. It needed a lot of care. And then I bought the Creality CR10, and I think that was on. I think I caught it like a 270 or 280. So yeah, so I would say right around $300 if you're getting started in it. And
It's not cheap.
it's
but
not
it's
bad.
not super expensive, right?
It's not super
definitely-
expensive.
People in the model train hobby have to be able to spend a little bit of money, and so
Sure.
it's accessible to just about anybody. It's accessible. You can get. I got this printer, which has been. I can't do what Tom does, right? With resin, he can get much finer detail. He can print HO scale figures. And I don't know whether I can do that with a filament printer, an FDM printer as it's called. I have bought a different nozzle. My new printer, I'm going to set up with a smaller nozzle and print at a slower speed and try to get a more detailed prints. But I'm pretty happy with what I've done so far. So I'm definitely the newbie here compared to you guys. And so I'll try and give the newbies perspective as we go through this, because I don't know very much.
Well, I guess this printer that I have, I think I bought a year ago or 2 years ago, probably 2 years ago. I think it was January or February. And so yeah, that's, like I said, $270 or something, $280. So, and it's a lot nicer than what I started out with.
So my first question for both of you guys, though, sorry to interrupt, Dave. You go ahead. I'll ask later. Go for it.
Well, I guess so. Rickster was talking about it. So that's about what you're looking at. And of course you have, plenty of people to help you get started with it. And then, Ray was saying that he had a printer that wasn't working right for so long. And he finally just said, you know what, I'm going to get a new one, which was probably a good choice.
So I saw Rick asked a question about files, availability of files, if you're not designing your own files. And we'll try, there we go.
Rick, okay, I'll answer that question for Rick. Okay. Rick, there's many sites that you can go to download STL files from. And those files can be printed either resin printed or on filament printing, depending on what you have. And the sites are Thingiverse, as Bob is showing there. And I use Thingiverse as a last resort now. Thingiverse files are all free. Anything you download is off of Thingiverse is a free file. If you find something you like, you could always download the file and email it to me, and I'll be glad to print it for you. If you don't have a printer or you're not thinking about getting a printer, I don't have a problem with printing things for people. Okay. The other site that I use a lot is Printables. If Bob can bring up Printables.
That's Dave doing the magic there.
I haven't seen this site before. It seemed to me that there were just a lot of copies from Thingiverse, but let's see what we have here.
No, Printables is a totally unique site. You type in HO scale or whatever scale you want, and then it'll bring up all the files in HO scale, and then you have to say view all files, stuff like that. So now you'll see all the files. I downloaded that cement train car model there from there. I never printed it, but I still have it there. But
so yeah, there's no end to the things that you could find here, from couplers to wheels to buildings, houses, supports here, bridges. The luggage cart, tunnel,
structures. Yep.
People, there's people right there, that one there.
Right.
I have that file there. I downloaded that and I printed those workers. So, and the other site is Colts.
They look like they're working on a Saturn V in a very hazardous location.
Yeah, yeah,
I just
Yeah.
noticed it.
yeah.
What was
exactly
the other site there, Tom?
Colts? CULTS.
Never heard of it.
This site here will link you to other sites. If you find a file on here that you like, it might be on Thingiverse, it might be on Yagi, it might be on whatever site. And it
Interesting.
tells you whether it's free or not. So a lot of, and then you would type in HO scale here and get to HO scale stuff too and stuff like that. So these are different sites you can go to, Rick, to get files of interest. And say you're working on, you want to have a building or something, anything to your imagination can be printed on your man. Thingiverse, that's right, Thingiverse. They're all good sites.
Life with Roscoe, you have to tell us what you mean by reverse print something. I'm not sure what you mean by that. And I see Dwight Curley's on here. Hello, Dwight, another printer.
I guess probably what he's thinking about is to take something and to redesign it, I suppose, because I've had to do that where, well, I think the Lionel trucks, actually, as you see on the top left here, I downloaded a file to make those wheels, and well, I think that's HO, but I did them in O scale, and
Right.
the file that I downloaded just wasn't working for me, so I just took that concept and redesigned it.
Boy, that looks pretty good to print the trucks.
You have to use the right word. Yeah, search engines are getting worse and worse and worse. Before you could just now I'm going to give you some computer experience here. In the back in my day, when we first started out with search engines, you could type in blah blah blah, and you would get blah blah blah. Then now they post all kinds of BS on there, advertisements and this and that. You don't know what you're looking for. So it's really difficult. So you have to really refine your searches to get what you want. But the HO scale gets you at least the HO scale stuff, and then you have to whittle your way down through the rest of the stuff.
All right, I'm going to unhide myself. So I guess Life with Roscoe, you're saying you got a split level house and you want it to be the other way. You want the lower part of the split level to be on the left instead of on the right, for example. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think you can do that if you download the STL file into a a program that you can use to do 3D design work, like Blender or AutoCAD or something like that. And there are a variety of programs, and we can definitely talk about those probably all night long, the three of us. But you definitely could do that. Download that and try to reverse it.
Most of the buildings come in multiple files. There'll be multiple STL files, and you can make the building. You can vary the building a little bit, but a major change would require some redesign of a couple of the walls, if you will.
Right.
The roof will be the same if you keep the sizes of the files the same, but if you elongate it, the roof has to be elongated, right?
Oh, you can scale up. Yeah, so with the slicer program, you can scale anything up or down however you want.
Right. But if you download somebody else's STL file, depending on that probably will just come down as one mass, right? And all you could do would be slice a chunk off and then build the other part, another part that you might want on the other side if you were trying to flip a split level house, for example.
It's not complicated at all.
It
It's really simple once you use it a few times.
So
in the beginning, I didn't know anything about 3D printing, but what I did know is that I wanted to get into 3D printing because I didn't want to have to rely on somebody else to do something for me. And I had an engineering background, so I can design things up on Tinkercad, and Blender, I tried using Blender, and I don't want to sit here and learn another freaking software package.
That's got a learning curve too, man. I'm using Blender now, but it's
okay. And I'm going to show, if I can share something, I want to show you something. I did something up. I told you guys I was doing all of the mini-me's, right? And I took Al Mar's in here, right? I found a photo of Al Mar. It wasn't the greatest one. I'm still waiting for him to send me a photo. He's going to try and get me one this week. But I put it up on Meshy, and when it created the file for me, his feet, one foot was this way, the other foot was back this way. Now, no human being can do that.
Except for Joe Theismann during that.
Yeah. Those eyes in the Super Bowl when he got hit by Lawrence Taylor, right? That was the worst injury I've ever seen in football. But so things like that happen when you get a file. And what I use is a program called 3D Builder, which every person that has a Windows machine has this program on their computer. It automatically is there. You don't have to go and download it from someplace. Microsoft gives you 3D Builder built into the operating system. It's been there since Windows.
I couldn't find it, Tom. And when I went out searching for it, because you told me that, and I tried to find that program, and it's no longer supported by Microsoft. And I couldn't find it.
Well, I'm on Windows 11, and it's still there.
Yeah, it was not available to me. I tried to find it and download it because it wasn't on my machines, more recent machines. And I could not find it. So sorry to interrupt you there.
That's okay. If I go to my search screen on my computer on the taskbar, see, like Dave has the search bar down at the bottom of the screen there where he's showing the browser. I type in 3D Builder.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Nothing comes up on my machines.
Do I have to download this and send it to you, Bob? Or
okay. And then when you were doing that on your stream,
But I forced myself to learn Blender. I forced myself to learn Blender.
Yeah.
So,
but see, here's the problem. With 3D Builder, what it does is when you take the file and drag it from your folder, wherever the STL files are, into 3D Builder, and then you do an import command on 3D Builder, it then puts a red box around the image. If it doesn't have any problems, it doesn't put that red box around it. Now, if I can share my screen, I can show you that, but I don't know if it's going to show you that, see? So, but this is what 3D Builder does, and then you click on what's this one here?
this is a very good question because a lot of people ask, and it's like anything on YouTube. You start looking up stuff, and you end up with a guy talking about something fun that he built, or he goes off on a tangent like us.
That's right.
Right.
And
right. See, that's the problem. Okay. See, I had an advantage over most people. I knew Jim Tedesco. He already was 3D printing. So the first thing I asked him was, what kind of printer did he get? And then I said, well, I want a resin printer. Once I got the resin printer situated, I got rid of the Igloo. I sent it back to Amazon, and then I got my Anycubics, and I went through a series of Anycubic printers too. Don't get me wrong. Nobody makes the perfect printer, but I had my
Right.
problems. And then then I said, okay, I want to do some bigger things. And he said, I have a Viper. So I got the same kind of printer Jim had. This way, when I talk to Jim, we can talk about apples instead of apples and oranges. So it's easier if you have a similar thing when you're talking to somebody on the phone than if you have a Cadillac and you have a Volkswagen. You're not going to fix the engine because they're totally different. So it's the same thing. So it's better if you know somebody that has a similar or close thing to you, what you have. Like if I had just resin printers and Jim had just filament printers. That's
So find
animal.
a friend that's in the same misery as you.
Yes, exactly.
But my answer to Deep Run Mike is this is not hard to do. You don't really need a YouTube guru to teach you how to 3D print. If you buy a 3D printer today, you're going to be able to fire that up and start printing in a matter of an hour.
You got three guys right here. Yeah. Well, Bob can do that. If Bob can say that, then yeah.
Yeah. If I can say
in an hour. You're right. In an hour, you should be able to. It takes about an hour to get it out of the box and all the parts.
Right. But it'll fire up. I mean, it's,
So there's three guys right here. Right. There's three guys right here, plus Raybo Bell and Jim Tedesco and Schuylkill River. So I mean, any one of us.
Question here. Dwight said any cubic slicer will fix errors too. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still having problem with files with errors. So I'll admit I still have some of the files that
you haven't run into enough yet, Bob. You haven't done enough yet. I'm telling you, you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here's a good question there, Tom, about 3D Builder.
That's the message I got, Ray.
Huh? I got Windows 11. I got Windows 11 and it showed up.
I have three computers here that are Windows 11, and all three of them have 3D Builder on it, and I didn't download it. Low Larry and Curly. Yeah.
So here's a good one from Grandpa Rails. He's also got the Bamboo A1, and that was a pretty popular one.
I've heard they're very reliable, kind of the Apple of 3D printers, right? You're in your own little universe with Bamboo, but it's very well designed and supported.
3D printers.
I would say, I mean, everybody has their preference because they get used to certain types of printers, but really at $300, see what's on sale or what the latest is. Elegoo,
Get started.
Creality, Bamboo. I don't think I've had anybody that said it was a piece of junk. I mean, other than the first Prusa printer that I had, that was a piece of junk, but it was a $140 printer. But I mean, seriously, all of them. I think
it's not like this is going to work forever for you, and that you're going to be able to, build your own 3D files and start printing them the second day you've got the printer. But and things are going to go wrong with these things. There are machines, and things wear out, things go wrong, settings get garbled up. I mean, it's just it happens. So you are going to have to roll your sleeves up and work on your machine eventually, work on the software. And that kind of leads me to one of the questions that was on my list. And that is, I had heard long ago that 3D printing is its own hobby. If you get too deep into 3D printing and you really want to get into 3D printing deeply, it could take away time from your, model trains in our case.
Right.
And so I wondered if you guys found that to be the case, because it seems like you both are still very active model railroaders, and you haven't been totally distracted by 3D printing. But I wonder if you had thoughts about that.
Well, here's what I was told when I first started. My question was, can I put file to be printed in the printer, let it print, and then go away from it while it's printing. I don't have to sit here and watch it print
Right.
because
As fun as that is at first.
like I said, I worked in the computer field and we had printers and you had to sit there and watch them print all the time because they wouldn't print right? So I said, I don't want to have to sit here and watch things print. Now, if I put something on the printer and it prints and it starts to mess up right away, okay, I'm here. Okay, I can fix something and change something, whatever. That was what my goal was, to be able to do this. And then I'd say, I want to be able to put a print job on and it prints overnight while I'm sleeping. When I wake up in the morning, I come out. Hey, it printed great. Okay, good. Now it's off to the next file, And that's
I'm trying to find that, Anthony. It's well, kind of did.
So have you achieved that, Tom?
Yes, I've achieved that.
Yeah.
I can
I'm
put
still
jobs
afraid to run my printer overnight. It's not in my house, right? I'm 10 miles away from my printer while it's running. Yeah. But there is a camera in the printer.
Right.
And so I could set up remote access to the printer so that I could check on it and shut it down remotely if there was a problem. So I probably should do that,
With the Bamboo Labs, you got an app on your phone. Okay.
Yeah.
Bamboo Labs Studio, right?
Elegoo's the same,
Right. But in the Bamboo Labs app, I don't know about the Igloo app. I use that. But in the Bamboo Labs app, it gives you a whole bunch of files that might be interested to you. And you can just click on that and it'll send it to your printer and start printing it.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm not totally, Ray says he's not totally confident about running his without being able to watch it. And
see, that's the whole thing.
I'm not either. I do not walk away from what I do if I'm going to do a print, I'll start it.
With fires and stuff like that,
Well, the old one did in fact catch fire. I'll get to that in a second. What I do is I'll start to print and make sure I get like 2 or 3 layers, because the biggest risk that I find is if the thing isn't sticking to the bed plate,
right.
Then you have a problem, you ruin it. And actually what I did have a problem with the Creality is it didn't stick to the bed plate. And as that thing was printing, all it did was make a big ball of plastic around the nozzle and destroyed the nozzle.
Wow.
So in answer to that question about the parts, because I went back to Micro Center where I bought the printer, and the guy sold me a nozzle, and I said, I can't tell, but that doesn't look exactly right. And sure enough, it was not exactly right. And I ended up ordering one from Amazon. So basically have to replace the whole nozzle when you have that. That's called the blob of death.
Okay, Dave, I'm going to tell you how you don't get that.
Well, mainly to make sure it sticks to the bed plate, but go ahead.
Here's how you make it sure it sticks to the bed plate. I had a similar problem. The prints weren't sticking. Okay. Then I found this stuff. It's from Bamboo Labs, but they probably have it for your printer too. It is a liquid. And what I do is I take my build plate off of the printer, take it over to the kitchen sink. I put 2 drops of dishwasher dish soap on it, put water on it, and take a sponge and clean off the build plate completely.
Right.
Every square millimeter of the build plate. Take a paper towel, dry it off, put it back onto the printer. Then I take this little lid off, and it has a little spongy thing there, and I go over the entire build plate. And every print, I have not had that problem ever again.
And I've heard people use a glue stick.
Yep.
They just use a regular glue stick.
I do
I've had
that.
those problems too, where I've come back, I set it to print, I come back and it hasn't stuck, and I have to stop the print. And restart, pull all of it off, clean it off, but I've never had any damage to the printer.
This works with PLA, ABS, and PETG.
So to let folks know, and I do that. So most printers now have a removable plate. So this is just a
Right.
metal plate, and on the printer itself, there's 4 magnets on each corner. So you basically just take this thing off, and yes, I do recommend that, Tom, of washing the plate. I use that Awesome Orange for everything, and it's a good degreaser. I always talk about Awesome Orange because it's $1. But yes, if I'm doing new prints or I haven't used this in a day or two, definitely scrub it real quick. I mean, you don't have to get crazy, just to get any dust off of it and any types of oils on it, and wipe it off so it's mostly dry, because the bottom of it you want dry. And we slap that down, the printer is going to be up to 60 degrees Celsius, and all the water is going to evaporate. So it's not a big deal by the time you're printing. But
Right.
yeah, take your magnetic plate off.
Alcohol the same way to clean
You could
off.
do that if I'm doing something like I'm going to print, and then a couple hours later I'm going to print something else. I'll just hit it with alcohol real quick just to get some stuff off. If I'm going to print something large, well, that's bigger than probably 3 or 4 inches. If it's bigger than that, I'll go through the whole process because I want to make sure that it sticks.
Yeah.
And this, see, I think most of them are textured. So this is it's almost like
Some are
sandpaper.
different. Some are smooth, some are textured. Yeah.
Okay, so this I haven't needed any stickum for it. But if you have a glass plate, will either of you have anything with the glass plate on it?
No.
But I have smooth plates, and I will say there's certain times when, every surface of the item that I'm trying to print, I'd like to be smooth. And when you print on that textured plate,
Not good.
it comes out textured. And so, sometimes you have something that's going to be the bottom or the inside of a thing that you're doing, and so you don't care whether it has a texture. But
Dwight, I would not use hairspray on your build plate. Hairspray has oil in it, and that's not good for build plates.
Awesome Orange. That's right.
Yeah, one of the depressing things is when you get down to a spool like this. So there's 5 cents worth of filament there, and actually it's been sitting there for a week. So I think we're done with this.
Well, see, that's the advantage I have over most of you guys with filament printers with the Bamboo Labs AMS unit. If mine runs out of print, it stops the job,
Right.
and waits until you add more filament to the
Right. Yeah.
Or I can change it to one of the other spools.
Mid-print.
That's it.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Matter of fact,
Whatever works for you, Curly.
Hey, Dwight, there's no argument with success, brother. You are printing successfully. But yeah, the Elegoo printer is the same way. If it runs out, it'll stop. If it senses before the filament actually runs out during the printing process, and it stops, and it prompts you to reload filament. So
the Viper.
I've never done that, but
I had to go in and do some code changes into the code on the Viper to get it to stop to do that. There was a couple of print codes that I had to enter in the code in there. Then that one would stop. It didn't do it automatically. So that's how that's how I got it changed to change different colors when I was printing multiple colors on the Viper. But with the AMS unit, I can just go in my slicing program and color what I want, different colors, and then it'll print from the 4 different colors in the AMS unit at once. So it's pretty nice. So I asked my kids for Christmas an AMS unit for my Mini, so I can have 4 colors on that too.
So when you print something in multiple colors, Tom,
yes,
are you pretty happy with the result? Does it reduce or eliminate your need to paint the object?
Yeah,
Can you just go straight to weathering?
The only thing I paint now is people.
Interesting.
Okay. Anything that I print on the filament printers, I don't do painting. Don't have to. If I want something in yellow, I'll go out and buy a roll of yellow filament.
Right. Right.
If I want something white, I get a roll of white filament, or blue or green or whatever. I buy the color of filament that I wish to have the object in.
Good idea.
Yeah. So that way I don't have to paint.
Good idea.
Painting is,
Either you
Barbara
like it or
does
you
all-
don't, right?
yeah, you like it or you don't. I have Barbara, she's my painter. She paints all the people.
Right.
So she loves to paint. So without with
We all-
her eye messed up right now, she can't.
We
do
all
any
don't
painting.
have our own Barbara, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Some
right,
of us
you know,
have to
right.
paint on our own.
Right, but see, that's what I do. I get the filament, the colors that I want, and then
Makes sense.
yeah, sometimes the filament I paint if I want to change the color that I
Right,
didn't like that.
right.
You know what I mean? But very
Sure.
rarely do I paint filament. I don't need to. If you
So
wanna-
we were talking about it running out. Uh-oh, I gotta mute this one.
Thank you, Dave. No, that's a good idea. What the
So,
hell is
yeah.
filament?
Right here, yeah, the filament goes through this little feeder here. Oh, I'm echoing myself. Okay, I can't do this for long. So basically this senses the filament. So when it runs out, then stops the printer.
Yep.
But the
Yeah,
filament
no.
is little 2 millimeter
I'm all
thick.
with those features on there. They made it a lot better. Before you didn't have that ability. Let's see, Mike.
Yeah, I just gotta remove this.
Run out of film.
That's interesting from Deep Run there.
Inch of loads.
Yeah, JD, Grandpa Rails is also a big printer. I know he's done some interesting things with his printer as well.
Yeah.
I did that one time. I underestimated how much was on the spool. So I had to like literally feed the filament through there as it was printing and and I waited until it was like just down there and the print head was moving around and I'm feeding, a new spool into the print head as it's moving. Like, come
Right.
on.
Just trying to feed it right behind the end of the old filament. You stuck in a new piece. Yeah.
What do you got there, Tom?
This is called poop.
That's
That's what it's called. It's called
right.
poop,
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
and there's a whole bin of poop inside the poop collector. You put
Do you
that.
save misprints or mistakes?
Yes, what I do, everything I print, if it's good or bad, like the other day, I printed these shells, right? Well, guess
Nice.
what? They're not the right size.
Damn.
Okay, right? This is a GP38. This is a GP18. Both are too small. Okay, so what I do, I give these to Barbara, and then she does something with it. She plays around with dioramas and stuff like that. So she gets
I've seen advertised a thing where you can recycle your misprints and your poop
Yeah,
and create your own filament.
yeah. I looked.
They
into
look
that
like
a
too
lot.
much work. That
It
just
does.
look like too much
When a
work.
roll of filament is $10, it's like, okay, I don't think.
Well, I get it for 20, but yeah.
Well, whatever it is. But
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really not worth the trouble.
Yeah,
So we talked about a lot of things. One of the things that we kind of talked about one other time before, and Bob had questions about it, the different types of filaments. The PLA is the basic type, and it's because it's the cheapest. It's the easiest to work with because it has the lowest melting point. But the problem is I made a phone holder one time, left it on the dashboard, and when I came back, it was melted. So,
that was
so there are
filament.
limits to it, huh?
Yeah.
That was filament, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
See, that's- The same thing happened to me. I have my layout, and there's a big window there, and I have the curtain drawn down, shades, blind shades. But when I had it lifted up for a couple of days, I realized I forgot about it and left it up there. and I had printed signs that marked the signals on my layout. And each signal has an address. And that's what the sign said that address was. Well, those signs started melting because the sunlight was hitting them coming through the window, and it started melting them. So I had to close the curtain, the shade again. So yeah, film it. You don't want to put out in the sun. It's not good.
But yeah, so anyhow, with different types of filaments. The basic is the PLA. So the next stuff from that is the PETG. And actually, that's like a number 2. If you look at your milk jugs or detergent containers, if it has a number 2 on it, that's PETG. So that gives you an idea. And then from there, there's ABS. And I know that ABS, you kind of want an enclosure around your printer. It works best because there's any fluctuation in temperature. That's where you have problems with ABS. Then from there, I haven't tried, but there's tons of nylons. There's actually some 3D print filaments that conduct electricity. There's some that are magnetic. You can get glow in the dark stuff. Now I know that like the carbon stuff, the metal stuff goes up in price. Of course, you're looking at $30 or $40 a roll for that. And they also make stuff that's
is another filament like PLA. You got PLA plus, and then you got ABS, you got PETT, and TPU. They're the 5 different filaments.
TPU, I didn't think of that one. Okay.
What is TPU? What are the characteristics of TPU that make it valuable?
TPU is stronger than PLA, PTEG, and ABS in one.
Oh, it's even stronger than ABS. Okay.
That's what you would use to make that gear for your locomotive.
Yeah. I have that at that time. I didn't have it at that time.
Is TPU flexible?
Yes. Very.
Someone had mentioned here
have
about the wood filament. So you can get filament, and I believe it actually has like a really fine sawdust in it. So if you want to print park benches, Tom's into printing park benches.
That means it'll take wood stain and stuff like that, like real wood.
Actually, I think some of it does. Am I right, Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have the wood color filament. I got a small spool of it, and it just to test it out.
Thanks, Ken.
It came out okay.
That's a very important point there, Ken. Now, originally, 10 years ago and even 5 years ago, that was definitely something you wanted to look at in printers. Like, oh my gosh, is it going to do all types of filaments? Most of them, again, like I was saying, it's come a long way. And just about anything, any printer you get now, all the ones that we talked about, will do a pretty good range, other than maybe some of the super, hot ones.
See, with the Bamboo Labs printers, they have profiles.
Yeah.
In the slicer program. So if you want to use PLA, it'll use the PLA profile. You want to use ABS, it will use the ABS profile, and it'll set up the printer to print that particular.
Yeah, right. The slicer program, you have to specify what type of plastic you're using, filament you're using.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I thought they made PLA with wood in it. So it's basically PLA, but it's got the wood fibers in it, I think.
I see.
Yeah. I never used that. I just use the color of wood.
You know what? This is a good question, and it just depends on what you're doing. So basically, a spool of filament is, what was it, a kilogram, 2 pounds, I think.
Yeah, I think
so. It depends on what you're doing. If you're printing small stuff, it might last you a month. If you're printing a lot of houses,
are you printing every day? I'll say this: it seems to me to last for a long time. You've had an awful lot of prints done off a spool. Now, admittedly, when Tom's printing an entire locomotive shell, maybe that's a little different, but that's hollow.
Right? It's
So-
hollow, and it only took an hour and 20 minutes to print it.
Right. So it's
And
surprising. You're not spending a ton of money on supplies for 3D printing. You're
No,
not.
and plus, it depends on how many supports you have.
That's true.
Okay?
Supports in your infill density.
As it's printing, you're right. How thick are the walls on the object? And for those who don't know,
This
when
here-
prints are printed, you have to have support. You can't print over air.
Open
right?
air.
You print right on the bed, but then you have to build up from the bed. So if you have an overhang or something, then you need to print supports, and there's different styles of support that you can select to either make the support better or to economize on the use of your filament for the support. So that's
Well,
fair. And I know, same
I
thing
have
is
a
true in resin, right, Tom? You've got supports in resin printing.
But oh yeah, we got supports in both. You have support in resin and on filament. But these two shells are very similar, right? This one here, no supports. This one here, supports. Go figure, right?
Right. And of course, you can manipulate your model before you print it in your slicing program to change the amount of supports that get printed, what surfaces against the build plate, so where you're not going to have any detail printable.
Right.
So you just have to, you may have to manipulate your model a little.
Here's an interesting topic that we need to talk
Yeah.
about quick.
That is.
Is the storage of filament. And I know Thomas has some plastic bins that he has fans in and a dehumidifier. And he's probably got a whole lot of money tied up in his filament. Now I've got 4 different rolls here. I got red, white, green, and black. And okay, yeah, he's got his nice plastic containers. I keep mine in a Ziploc bag here. And the thing is,
What the humidity is in it.
that tells you what the humidity is. Now I've been pretty successful. It's got these little desiccant bags.
Right.
I've had this for a couple of months. I think 6 months is probably, if you don't use it after 6 months. I've tried, actually I stuck a roll in the dryer one time and it dried it out. I'm dead serious, man.
Yeah, probably
I made-
worked. Yeah.
Well, it kind of did. Basically, I made a stick that went through the middle and then stuck it in the dryer so it wouldn't flop around.
Very
It was
creative.
a little bit wobbly.
I
Okay,
have
Tom's got
those
some.
too. I have one of those Sunlu units too, Tom. Do you like it?
Yep.
Yeah. I fire that up
Couple hours
15
later.
minutes before I start printing. I fire that bad boy up and let it do its thing.
I'm sure, Thomas, you probably got about a dozen different rolls of filament there, huh?
I have, how many containers I have? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There's 18 containers.
Okay. So yeah, so for your case, it's worth doing that because you've got a lot of money tied up in filament. How many spools of filament do you have handy, Bob?
I probably they were on special, so I bought about 10 rolls of gray.
Oh boy.
Just
Okay.
to print, but it's all sealed up. It's hermetically sealed, so I assume it's going to stay fresh in there until I'm ready to use it. Does it actually have a shelf life that I'm not aware of?
I think you're all right. No, it's vacuum sealed. So, I mean, I would think you're good for
Right.
at least a
Once you
year.
open it, and you got to keep it using.
Right. Once you open it.
Right.
I think you're good for at least a year on that. I don't know if it actually does, if it's any worse. And of course, making sure that it's not in the sunlight or something.
Right.
Or
On my
overheated.
on my A1, the AMS unit, I built a cover for it, and it has the gauges in it with the humidity and temperature is inside that enclosure. So I know, and those filaments stay in that AMS unit. They've been in, one of the rolls has been in there for over 6 months now.
Wow.
So
no problem.
generally, as long as the temperature and humidity is good, then
Yeah, you're
it's pretty
good.
good. I
your
agree with you,
desiccant
Mike.
solution, Dave, but I think that makes me think of something else, and that is your print is also hydroscopic, right? PLA is
Yes.
hydroscopic. And so even after you're done printing, it's hydroscopic. So you have to store until you paint it and seal it from humidity with paint. It could warp, it could change shape, right? So I've been printing these little test model kits and sending them to people to build for me so that I can learn. And I've been putting a little desiccant bag in with every one. I'm sealing them in a plastic bag because I'm afraid they're going to warp, which I assume they would. So you have to be careful until the PLA has been sealed. Now, speaking of other filaments, are other filaments less hydroscopic and more stable than PLA?
I think so. The ABS and probably
ABS.
TPU.
TPU is like I use TPU, but I can't use TPU in the AMS unit. I have to put it in the external spooler on the A1. Won't let me have that in the AMS unit. Doesn't support it yet.
I see.
If
I
get the Bamboo Labs, if I knew about it, then I would have got the Bamboo Labs TPU, and then that would work in the AMS unit.
What
Go ahead, Dave.
you had humidity sensors on your containers there, Tom. What's your goal for?
Oh well, I don't want to see it go over 50% humidity.
Okay. And of course,
my house right now, the humidity is 22%.
Okay.
And that's right now it's 70 degrees in my office with no heat on, and it's 19 degrees outside.
I find that running my printer makes my workshop much more comfortable.
Yeah,
it really does. I mean, I like some days, I mean, it's 15 degrees outside right now, and I'm like, boy, I should fire my printer up. I've got something to print and it's cold. I will definitely start it because it warms the room right up. Yeah.
This year I have communications equipment in this cabinet here. It's
you're running all kinds of machines in your area.
Yeah, I got all kinds of equipment in here, and then there's 4 printers in here. So
right.
Keeps the temperature up a little bit, and the printers are going 7 by 24 mostly.
So, Bob, do you have any favorite things that you printed that you were just you were like, oh, this is fantastic. I'm glad that I was able to print this. Good.
Well, I've really gone down the 3D print rabbit hole, and
Easy to do.
I'm distracted from model trains to some extent, right? But I'm making this ice house kit to sell, and I've really gotten into the design aspects of it. I've designed a little push tugboat model. And so I'm in the process of getting those files right. Some of them aren't printing quite right, but I've designed that in Blender. So I've really enjoyed doing that. So, but I mean, the range of things that you can do is just so incredible. But I haven't done anything really big or complex. I've gone down more creative. To me, it's just amazing that you can design a 3D object and print it. That's just like, it's just like, it's incredible that you have that capability now, that you can go out and actually design something and print it. And I know, Dave, you have typical engineer, you like solve problems, by creating parts. I have something at my house. I've got to talk to the guy. I had my kitchen redone and they had to move a inner drawer. So now it doesn't line up with the catch. And I'm like, well, let's just redesign the catch. I'll redesign the catch and I'll print a new catch on my printer and boom, problem solved. So it does have, but I don't have any, models. I really have enjoyed making my own model kit of the ice house. That has been an incredible thrill for me to actually create that. Of course, now talking with Tom, I'm like, I need to print the thing in white instead of gray. That way the end user won't have to put 2 coats of white paint on it. At most they can paint it once and then they're good to go. So I need to get, I did buy, I think, 1 roll of white PLA. So I need to switch over to white PLA to do that. So that's kind of the one project that I've been doing that is
The buildings.
most exciting to me. But I printed a bunch of little buildings and all sorts of things. I printed these Aztec death whistles for Halloween.
Here's a good one.
And, and so, blow on the thing and it sounds like somebody shrieking. I gave those away to the chagrin of my neighbors, I'm sure. I gave those away to all the neighborhood kids. So all kinds of stuff. It's just, when you get out on Thingiverse, it's just incredible how much stuff is out there. But to me, the magic is making my own.
Yes. Plus, you can solve problems so much easier if you have a 3D printer. You have a problem. Like I had all these hooded sweatshirts and I had no place to hang them. So I designed a hanger and printed it out, 2 pieces, put it up on a wall. And now my hooded sweatshirts are all hung up on a wall. Things that it's so much better.
We haven't even talked about Meshi and,
no.
You could just feed a picture into Meshi AI and it'll generate a 3D model for you. So you don't have to know Blender or anything else. And my hit rate isn't that great with that, but it's more than 50% of the models that it produces I can use.
Right.
That's amazing. Out of 1 picture?
Yeah.
It's just incredible. So yeah, it really is. So I've made all sorts of little, storage tanks for my layout or machinery, just the sky's the limit. If you can find a picture of it, you've got a shot of feeding it into AI and getting it to create an STL file. That's the type of file that you need to feed into the printer, into the slicer rather. And so it's amazing that you can use AI to generate a model of almost anything just based on a picture and have something for your layout. Whatever unique thing it is for your particular railroad, your particular location, if you've got a decent picture of it, boom. That's a miracle.
I figure we're probably going to go till about 9:30 because we could talk about this for days. So we'll give it a little bit of extra time, but
you could.
I'm sure some
Your
folks
mistake, Dave, was bringing me up here on this topic.
Yeah. So Thomas, what kind of thing have you printed or something that you were just like, oh, this is great that I could print this, or something that you printed that just saved you time, or just really you enjoyed printing?
The thing that really got me excited was I was able to print myself.
You're doing a great job with that, Tom. Those prints of people. There it is. There it is. How about you, Dave? What's your favorite thing that you printed? I know your incline is fabulous, but you probably printed many other things.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the first thing, or the main reason I bought the printer was for that incline project. And I've enjoyed making like houses because, just trying to find a house or a particular building or something. And I made a caboose that I downloaded. I'm trying to think of what other things. But one thing that I printed when I actually had the other printer that just is unbelievable. My weed whacker broke one day. I was out there trimming the grass and I had like 10 feet left, and the little trigger thing on the weed whacker that you squeeze to make the thing run, it broke. I was so mad because all I wanted to do was like finish 10 feet of trimming. And I came down in the basement and I'm like, this is going to take 3 days. If I order this thing, I'm not going to get this done. And I sat there and I was just disgusted. And then like, wait a minute, let me see if I can make one. And I started to CAD one, and I said, wait a minute, maybe somebody else has had this problem. And sure enough, I found it on Thingiverse, downloaded it,
Perfect.
sent it through the slicer, put it on the printer. Hour and a half later, I finished my yard. Bam.
That's a great story. How about
Um,
things that you plan to print, Dave? Is there something, some really cool thing that you want to do in the future with your printer?
Like Tom there, and I got to talk to him about those shells that he was printing, because I had experimented with designing and printing some shells for trains, some train bodies or whatever. And I
Right.
have a
Body shells. Yeah.
Tyco steam engine locomotive over there, and it's all it's a pot metal, and it's all cracked.
Mm.
And the motor, everything in it is good. It's just that the whole body of it is metal, and it's crumbling. And I know there's going to be a lot of detail and a lot of things to work on. It's going to take some time, a lot of parts.
I think anything like a steam engine is going to need a resin printer to print it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess first of all, I have to do the CAD work.
Because there's so much detail on those engines that
And
a film printer isn't going to do a good job, I don't think.
Yeah, there's yeah, you're right. And then also, designing parts, that's a whole other aspect. We talk about Tinkercad and
Blender. And, yeah.
Blender. Yeah, the programs to actually make something. I'm using TurboCAD, which is very similar to AutoCAD.
Right.
But that's basically what I use to design things, is TurboCAD.
Do you find that fairly intuitive, or is it a real learning curve?
Well, for me that knows CAD, it's not that big of a deal.
You do CAD already. Huh?
Yeah, I did CAD. I've been doing
That's cheap, Dave.
for 20 years. So yeah. What was I going to say?
Dave, I started out in engineering before I turned over.
Yes. Yes.
I was not. I was a lawyer, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know crap about 3D modeling. I had to teach myself everything. I tried multiple programs. I tried Blender, was frustrated by it, went and tried a whole bunch of others and said, I might as well learn Blender. It's free. It's completely capable. I just need to learn it. And so I've been doing it. But there are times when it will take me an hour or 2 hours to make one change to a model because I can't figure out how to do it. And I'm just, stuck. So it is very frustrating. But once you learn something, it's, Rusty, no, you're cheating too. Yeah. I'm more the classic user. Don't have experience with CAD. But
here's something that I got from Thingiverse here. This is a house.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Yeah, so that's an N scale, and actually, I also printed one in HO.
And it's got some texture on those walls too. Did I see in the?
Yes, like siding,
nice.
which is pretty crazy. And I need to.
Very nice.
So I need to find that in CAD to make like if you want siding on your house or something like that. So I need to amp that up a little bit.
Yeah, I know Blender does have support textures. You can put brick texture but I have yet to learn how to do that yet. But
it's in there somewhere. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I've just got to figure out how to apply textures to a surface. But I'm sure it's there.
Here's a good question from Martin. So you can build whatever fits on your build plate. I think I'm looking at about 8 inches. So if it fits on the plate, you can print it.
And build plates come in different sizes. Some printers have bigger plates.
I can't print a no scale big boy. I'll tell you that. But
I don't think anybody can.
I'm curious. Well, you know what?
But you could print it in pieces.
Yeah, you could print it in pieces. Right.
And glue it together. So,
yeah.
Yes.
I'm printing O scale people on my printer.
I have to use your noggin.
Right.
Hey, Derek, what's going on, brother? Yeah,
Hey,
so
Derek.
it's the sky's the limit, really. It's
Right.
you just got to use your head to redesign something to fit, and you can orient how that object is printed on the plate. So, you can print it vertically or lay it down. You can do different things to
Well, here's two good
make it-
examples here.
get it to print.
So this is something that I designed for the incline project, and it supports a pulley. Okay.
Right.
Now, if you were to print this on the build plate like this, then it has to be supported.
Right.
So you want to design it so you could, put it like
Flip it
this,
Yeah.
and then there's no support.
You don't need supports if you did it the other way either, Dave.
I think it would print with supports there. Yeah.
Nope.
It
you
would-
wouldn't need
Maybe
Well,
as a
yeah.
resin printer, but not with a
hell
film
no.
printer.
Even on a resin printer or a film printer, you would need supports. If you had it
It'd be,
that way,
well,
you won't need no
that-
supports.
that's just kind of an example of things. I mean, of course, you don't want to print it like that, and then you need support
That
for those
way,
little tabs.
No, you wouldn't need no supports for that either.
Boy, I don't know. I would have thought Dave was right about that, Tom, that supports would be required there with that overhang. That's a classic need for
Yeah.
support.
Maybe the other way you had it flipped, it would, but the other way, no.
Yeah, I'm with Dave. I would print that where it was laying on its side.
Yeah.
Well, that's just giving you an example of, when you design a part, think about how you're designing it.
Right.
And,
And how you orient it on the plate to print it. Yeah.
Right.
Right. And if you've got, if your printer is going to print a support or, an overhang like that, then good for you. If it doesn't, then you've got to think about how you're going to support it.
Well, it all depends on which way you lay it on the build plate too.
Absolutely. So that's just something to think about when you design something
You get a
or
model,
when you put it on the
and
plate.
you slice it right away, you'll see if it puts supports on it already. And if you don't want
Right.
to have supports, then you can flip the model one direction, turn it upside down, or something like that.
And it doesn't
And then
even
you-
have to be something that you designed. It could be something where you got the design off Thingiverse. It'll be oriented one way when you load it into your slicer, but that may not be the optimum way to print it.
Right.
just
Yeah, I'm
something.
just-
a lot of
I'm
times
just
it
saying-
is, but sometimes it isn't. So you just
Right.
have to use your head a little bit as you're orienting it on the build plate. So
I downloaded people, for example. I downloaded them and they were all laying down. I don't like to print the people laying down. I like to stand them up. And then that creates supports because I want the supports around the people when it's printed.
right. So
The only thing I figured out is how to modify an existing STL file. Like I have a person, like I was telling you, where Al Mar's feet were backwards. I want to be able to flip that foot around in the STL file. And I have a program that's supposed to be able to modify STL files, but there again, it's another piece of software. Got to learn how to use it.
now we're back to it's a hobby of its own, right? 3D printing can be so engrossing
Or I
and so
just get
demanding.
Al to send me a good picture of them, and then I won't have to go through all this.
Come on, stop doing your Joe Theismann imitation.
Yeah,
And,
it was funny. I even
So-
went on. Go ahead.
let me ask you a more basic question here about and Brian at the Iron Horse earlier today was doing a live stream and he was gluing PLA pieces together with plastic model cement, like Testors plastic model cement. So I was wondering,
Yeah.
when you guys make something with PLA,
Yeah,
what are
modeling
you
glue.
gluing it together with? I've been using CA.
That works too.
Super
we-
glue,
Yeah.
but
Super
it
glue?
doesn't always work.
More dollar store stuff, but yeah.
So what are you using? I can't read that. I can see the
I'm
tube.
sorry. It just says
Dave.
Fix All Adhesive.
Fix-All, huh? So what is it? Is it a glue? It's
Yeah,
not
you
really
know
a
what? It
solvent
smells just-
cement. Like,
It smells just like the Testors glue that you used
Does
to
it?
use when you were a kid.
Okay.
That's got to be the same thing.
That's why he's using it.
What's that?
I said, Dave wants to get high. That's a
No, no, you're wrong.
But yeah,
I don't
that
think
works.
so. There are people in the chat who I would suspect that of, but not Dave. No, not Dave. So how about paints? When you're trying to paint PLA, what are you using to paint it with?
acrylic.
You can use acrylic. I find now if you want something white, use white
Thanks,
filament.
JD.
Because
Yeah.
if you've got, if you've got blue or green and you want it to be white, you're going to put 7 coats of white on it. So,
And then you still won't like it.
right. So, yeah, if you want something white, print it white.
Yeah,
Yep.
But yeah, acrylic or enamel. I don't know
That's
if
right.
I've spray painted anything.
I spray paint everything.
Okay.
I spray paint everything white to seal it right after I printed it. If it's a model, I'll put it together with raw PLA, but then I will immediately spray paint it white.
There you go. Ray's got a
I use
whole
a
spray
rattle can
booth.
just because it's quicker. I can just step outside. I can shoot a whole bunch of stuff white. Done. It's sealed. And then I don't have to worry about it warping on me while it's sitting on my workbench or waiting to sell it or whatever. But yeah, I need to start printing in white. My Ice House model in white. I need to try that. So
We were talking about, well, I don't know how, if you can see this or not.
That's why Brian used that glue.
We were talking about different kinds of things you could print.
yeah, JD,
and,
I use a rattle can. Yeah.
That's a gear.
Right. You tell me
But
you can't fix that locomotive by printing a gear? Of course you can.
Well, I just haven't started on that locomotive yet.
Right.
But that gives you an example. So this is a gear that I'm using for the incline project.
And that's PLA?
It's PLA. Yeah, I designed it, printed it, and it's good enough detail that it gears and it works. So, you can, an example of something that you can make. I don't know.
Right. And I hear you, Dwight. I see Dwight's commenting about how Brian at Iron Horse was using the glue he was using because it gave it time to move it around. But I use medium viscosity CA, and I have all the time I need to move it around. I can move it around quite a bit before I.
See, when I glue something, I want it to stick instantly.
Tom's more sure of himself.
I'm not that accurate with my palsied hands. I need a little bit. I need a couple of minutes of drying time. It's amazing how long that medium viscosity CA will stay wet. If you squeeze it out onto a piece of cardboard, a blob of it, it'll be there. I can do 4 or 5 different joints putting things together before it hardens up. So
yeah, I use a little toothpick with the CA on a piece of paper. I take it off and put it on.
Right.
Especially if I'm gluing a little coupler, the cover for the coupler box.
Sure.
You don't want to get it inside the coupler box, right?
All right, Dwight. We know when you're joking. First, you use the hairspray to make your build plate sticky, and then you glue the model together with it. It's nice.
It just likes hairspray.
It's universal adhesive.
Right.
There is something that I meant to order, and I thought I ordered it, and then it never showed up. I think Amazon just didn't take my order, but it's called UV glue, and that's what dentists use. But it's a glue, and it doesn't harden. And then you have a little light, just look like a little flashlight, and you shine the UV on it for a couple seconds, and then it dries it.
Right.
So that's a kind of a thing that I wanted to order. And just didn't
okay, Dave, you do a video of it and check it out.
And they have UV resin as well. So if you want to, do a casting, you can do it with UV cured resin. So it won't cure until you expose it. It's just like fingernail polish, right?
Yeah.
I know you guys, when you go to the manicurist,
I get my nails done.
put the women are getting their nails done. They put their hands inside a thing that's got UV light in it, and that cures Pure SATA. That's yeah, that's good. That's a good technology too.
I'm looking at your list here, Bob. You have a question on here. Have you tried and stopped 3D printing? Oh, okay. If, in other words,
That's for the chat. For the folks in the chat, I'm wondering if there's anybody out there who's
who gave
tried
up
it
on
and
it.
had a problem, and what was that problem? I'm curious,
What's the
why
question?
you stopped. What did you? And I don't know if there's anybody out there who it sounds like we have a lot of 3D printing adherents out there, people who like it and do it. We've got a fair number of folks, or they haven't tried it at all and they're curious, like the tree.
What's the question?
Have you started 3D printing? In other words, were you 3D printing and then gave up on it or quit for some reason?
Oh, you mean totally get rid of it and don't bother using it?
Yeah, that was for the folks in chat. I was wondering that what their
Well, I can tell you,
was.
I knew. Well, I think Sparky's in there. He had a 3D printer, and then something didn't print right, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll get back to it." And there's another guy, Dave Griffin, DA Griffin Hobbies, and he had a similar situation where he was printing things, and he was having trouble with it sticking to the plate, and he gave up on it and left it. And I talked to him about it one day and helped him get started again. And he was like, "Oh, okay. So then how it works." And of course, you have some, Ray had a printer that had sitting there for a year or two, and the software wasn't working and it was nothing but trouble. And then he just got a new printer. So,
Right.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Either ask somebody for help, or sometimes it's just time to get another printer.
Right.
So one of my questions on the list was about brands of filament, because I'm only used Elegoo filament. That's my printer's an Elegoo printer, and I have Elegoo filament.
It's best to get the filament that the printers support.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because I know there's Sunlu filament. There's
eSun, there's Sunlu.
There's lots of brands.
Anycubic. There's all different brands of filament. You should get the filament that the printers support. That's the best that I can say. That's what I do.
Right.
I use the Inland from Micro Center, and I get the PLA Plus. The PLA Plus is like $1 or $2 more, so $22, I think, a roll. And there is a benefit to getting the Plus. It's a little bit smoother, and you do have slightly nicer prints. So for an extra $1 or $2, I can't remember if it's kilogram or 2 kilograms in a spool.
I'm going to start getting the refill spools of filament.
Well, Tom, I understand. That's a good. Well, that would work for you, because it's like $3 less a roll. And I was down there, and I said, "So if you buy it without a spool, what are you supposed to do?" He says, "Well, you buy a spool that kind of like clicks together, two pieces that go together." And how much is that? $7.
You print your own spool.
I print my own.
Yeah, well,
you can, right? You print a spool that goes together. Yeah.
Yes, you can do that. I looked at it, and as a matter of fact, at one time I needed a certain color, and they only had it in the spool list, and so I bought it that way, and then I came home and I had to take there you go, like Tom has theirs.
Right.
And I took another spool and I cut it in half and
printed, and which one isn't?
Yeah.
That's one of the first things they tell you to print. They try to get you to print as a test print. Yeah, Ken, you need to tell us how the move is going. I assume you're into your new place and you're just getting life set up first before you get hobbies set up. USA made filament. Which are the brands that are USA made? Because I don't think Elegoo is.
No. Neither is eSun or Sunlu or any of them. They're all made over in China.
Sunlu, okay. Here, let me share something with you real quick.
All right, you were almost to your 9:30, so.
Yeah. mm,
Voxel is made in California, JD says. Voxel filament. I've never heard of them. VOXEL.
Yeah. So I do have a Thingiverse page here. So you could download any of this stuff for free. And, we were talking about different things that we printed, on the left here, this is for a River Aussie engine. So that tiny little part there is what this 3D print is about.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's one thing about the images. They're not the size of the file. Don't get confused with what you're seeing and what you're printing, because you look at that and go, that's way too big or that's way too small. Don't be afraid to download the file. Like that part there, it looks big. It's probably only a little itty bitty piece.
Yeah.
Right.
You know
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So-
scaling of the prints is can be confusing. So you
Sometimes-
designed all these things? You designed that building, Dave?
Yes.
Very nice.
Some
Yeah, I
things are put up there with a dime next to it or a penny, just to give you an idea of what the size.
Right.
Oh, here we go. The paper holder. You need a place to put your notepads.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, and actually, a lot of stuff that I have on here is like fixable, like replacement parts for engines too. Well, here's a drive shaft. It's a model power drive shaft, and here's the tender, the drawbar that Ray needed one of those, and Steve the plumber needed one of those. There's another drive shaft for something different. The Searchlight car. That's a fun project.
And tell me again, what program you used to design these things in, Dave?
TurboCAD.
TurboCAD.
Here, this is mostly the parts that I'm using for the incline, all the gears and spindle, motor mounts and stuff like that. So I just put it in there as gears and pulleys. So, actually, that's changed. Yeah, it's changed a good bit. Another drive shaft coupler. Well, anyhow, I'm not trying to sell anything, but there's, plastic filled parts that you're constantly losing. That's for the schoolhouse. Let me see. That shows where it came from. Yeah. Yeah. So there's certain parts in these plastic fill houses that you constantly lose. So that's a lot of what I've been doing. So anyhow, that's my thing there.
That's part of the miracle of 3D printing, is to be able to create 3D objects from your own plans to solve problems.
That's right.
Thank
you, Deep Run.
Very cool. Yeah, and Ken Amos, you've had a few comments about how full your plate is. Good luck, brother, man. You have a lot going on here. It's all exciting, but all right, Dave, we're over 9:30, so I'm gonna.
I just have one question.
I sense we can go on even further. Go ahead, Tom.
JD, if you're still out there, the part you got from the track cleaning guy, did he send you the tracking number for when he shipped it? Just say yes or no. See if he understood what I was asking.
That's a good idea, JD. I think I could make a couple of extra tokens for Monopoly and maybe win if I could have extra hotels. I could suddenly
hotels. There you go. Print hotels, and then just start the game up with all the hotels on.
Suddenly
all
they'd appear. Yeah. All right. Well, no, this has been really. We could probably go on for a long time about this, and thank you for letting me be on this and talking with two more experienced masters of the 3D modeling
jack of all trades, master of none
craft. So, and we had so many people in the chat who also are very knowledgeable of doing this. It's really become It's not so unusual, Bob. You're just new. But people have been doing this for years, and it's really becoming a part of this hobby, our train hobby.
Yes, it's a hobby within a hobby.
And a lot of other hobbies, right?
Yeah, you had commented about, does it overtake the model railroading hobby? And sometimes it does. In other words, I get on a project and here I am spending a week or 2 weeks designing something, or,
Right.
I'm going to print like 100 parts for something. Well, sometimes it does, whatever. It's still fun.
Yeah. No, it's just, it is amazing. And
Well, good.
it's just important to keep up with technology and changes, I mean, it's all good. It's all improvements. And yeah, so got to
Get out there and get started.
That's right. That's right. If you got $400, you can buy a decent printer, plenty of supplies that'll keep you happy for months. And that's pretty cheap entertainment. And you can get some unique things for your railroad. If you're following a particular prototype and you need a structure that looks a certain way,
Right,
now you can build it.
Right.
So,
And if there's something, I printed something for Ray. And actually, Tom, I made those IR bases, the IR emitter stands for your sensors, Tom. So, I mean, if there's something that somebody needs designed in TurboCAD, if it's not too crazy, let me know.
cool.
I love a challenge. That's what I told Ray. He needed a coupler for a go gauge. All right. No, that was a G scale train.
There's an offer.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, next week is our holiday show, correct, Dave?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is going to be on Ray Bobel's channel, I am sure. And we'll have our holiday show where the entire cast of Sidetrack Sunday will be online. And I'm sure that Ray will have some interesting things planned for us for next week. So
Hopefully we'll have a giveaway. Hopefully we'll have a giveaway. I think that's the plan. And we'll talk about places to visit, or I guess model railroad layouts to visit for the holidays. I'm not sure what else.
I'm sure it'll be fun and games as usual. The holiday show is always fun.
Got it.
So
sure, send it along there, Martin. Yeah. So sorry about that, Bob.
No,
Yeah.
I was done. Just wanted to thank you for pulling this together, Dave. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tom, thank you for coming on with us and sharing all of your wisdom. You're a great member of the community and very informative. So thank you, sir.
Glad to be here.
Tom, we'll have to talk about that shell that you're printing, the engine shell.
Yeah. Well, see, here's what I did. I ordered the frames from the track cleaning guy, GP38 frames. Once I get it here, I'll see how far off it is.
Yeah, and then you can scale it. Maybe it's just a scale problem.
I'm not the patient type of guy that most people are. I went out and bought off of eBay 3 GP38 shells. They were, made by Bachmann or Lifelike or whoever. They were only like $8 for the shells. I mean, I could have been here playing around with this, and my time is more valuable than $8.
Right, $8, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
You're going to use $2 of filament to print it out or more. Yeah. So
yes. I have to. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right.
Finish.
Yes. Anybody out there who's not subscribed today? I looked earlier today. Actually, I am subscribed to Dave's channel.
Thank you. I never say in my videos, please subscribe or anything like that. I always say thanks for watching. I'm not trying to win any contests here. And I'm not monetized, so I really don't care. But I'm kind of excited about getting to that 1,000.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I stopped saying that too. Every day, I was watching other people's channels and they were always saying, hey, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Right? Now, what I do is I put up two things on my end of my videos, and it's the end titles of the videos. And one is a link to a playlist that I have. And then the other one is a subscribe button. Click on that, and you don't have to say anything. They just click on it, and then they can subscribe to your channel. So if you need to know how to do that, I'll be glad to help you out.
I just got monetized yesterday.
Congratulations.
Yesterday. Now, that's the first level of monetization. It's not means I'm running ads or anything like that, but I can at least sell merch and do a few other things, have memberships and do a few other things. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really, I'm not producing enough content to, if I was really serious about it, I'm sure it could have been monetized earlier, but it's interesting to see, Dave, you do, and Tom, you do too. You do a lot of informative stuff. And that's the stuff that people watch on my channel is how to spray paint in cold weather. I did a video on how to spray paint in cold weather when I lived in Pittsburgh years ago. Very popular, step-by-step graphics saying step 1, step 2, very people love, and I've talked to people all over the world. There's a guy in Moscow who's trying to paint guitars in the cold who wrote to me about the damn video. So, it's just, it is. So those are the things that work for me. Other people, it's different, but yeah, to me, it's about the community. This cast right here, this live stream was a prime example of the power and the pleasure that I get out of YouTube. I mean, this was just amazing to hang out, to be able to converse with so many people. It's just amazing. I mean, we're in a niche hobby. Let's face it. There aren't that many people. You got to go out of your way to find other model train nerds, and this is a way to do it. It's just, I don't know. It's just wonderful. It's just a total pleasure. So I'm dribbling on here, Dave. So sorry, I'll let you end the stream, but I wanted to again thank you guys for having me on.
One quick question about on my stream. Did you ask me about my sailboat?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. I do have a video where I did of showing the whole park area and the sailboat it's in there. I couldn't find it the night you asked me.
Okay. I'll look for that. Just because I'm thinking about doing my own sailboat model, doing the 3D modeling, and then doing vacuum form to make the sails.
Oh, okay.
So that they'll be really thin.
Yeah.
So it'll be kind of a multimedia kit. It will be a 3D printed hull, waterline hull. I'll probably use some commercially produced stock to make the masts. And then I would use vacuum form technology. I still have one of those old Mattel vacuum forms.
You the STL files, and then you get an idea of what they are.
Yeah, that's cool. That'd be cool. Okay. So, all right. Thanks for asking about that, Tom. No problem. I'm curious. I'd love to see that. Does that video show pictures of the sailboat on your layout?
Yeah, it shows it in the lake.
Okay, cool. I will check that out. That out. So, all right. Well, thanks again for pulling this together, Dave, and thanks for everybody who's still out there.
We're still got 18 hanging on, but
hanging with us after all this time. So,
thank you everyone for being here and following along. And Tom, thanks a heck of a lot. We've talked about a lot of different things, and Bob also.
Thank you.
So definitely fun, and there's always something new I'm trying. And yes, next week is the Christmas show. So thank you everyone for joining, and we will hopefully see you next week on Rainbow Bell's channel.
Stay warm, stay safe.
Stay warm. Peace.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Take care.